Hey, welcome to my channel, Hey Hayden TV. I'm Hayden. Today I'm going to be going over the bosses in Lies of P. I'm going to cover some of their mechanics, but mostly I'm going to be ranking them in order of their difficulty. We have 18 total boss fights to cover. Technically there's like 25 or 26 for however many, but I'm going to lump multiple together and count them as one. I'm going to say a lot of stupid things. I'm going to say a lot of really stupid things. Some crass humor, dirty jokes, just a lot of stupid things. Some that's what she said, because you got to have that, obviously. Once we do that, we're going to have a quick guest appearance at the end from Mrs. Hey Lady.
Hi, I'm the lady.
She's going to give us our daily booby, because obviously we need some booby too. She's going to do our hot thoughts segment of the day. Get it? It's like a hot take, thought, hot. You get it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. All right, to kick off the list at number 18, this is where I'm going to lump multiple bosses together and count them as one. Stalkers. Yeah, stalkers. If you're struggling with stalkers, oh, that's going to be a really long game for you guys. I really hope you're not struggling with stalkers. They're really easy. You might struggle with the Mad Donkey a tiny bit, just because of how early you face him. You might not know what the hell you're doing. But even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you really probably shouldn't even be struggling with him. Basic attacks stagger them. You can break their animation chains with basic attacks because they stagger so easily. The White Lady might be a tiny bit difficult too, because she's like a jabby, jab, 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 jabby, jab, super quick jabby jabs. Like she's in a fencing duel against you. But I really hope you don't struggle with these guys. Our next easiest boss, our number 17 spot. Well, there's technically 3 of them. The Puppets of the Future. These are some massive robots. They are hella tall and hella slow. And so easy. They're probably actually easier than stalkers, but the only reason I'm putting them above them is because if they do hit you, they do crazy amounts of damage. But they're so slow. Like if you get hit by them, that's kind of sad. Maybe you dropped your controller or something, I don't know. They do some goofy spinning shit where they're like, woo! And then you just like took 3 steps back and you're like, oh my god, would you stop spinning so I can kill you? The second encounter with the Puppets of the Future is when you fight 2. They're in the same area, but you can cheese them by just kiting them and getting line of sight set up where there's a gunman that hits them instead of you, so you just kind of walk up and down and watch them get shot over and over and over again until they die. Yeah, don't die by Puppets of the Future. That's kind of sad. Moving on to number 16. Alright, so 18 and 17 you might not really have counted as boss fights. They hardly do, in my opinion. But they do have their own individual health bars, so I'm putting them up on this list anyway. Number 16 is where the actual boss fights begin. And at number 16, we have the very first boss in the game, the Parade Master. He's easy. He's a very easy boss, as he should be since he's the very first one. This mop-headed mustachioed monstrosity, doing his best Wario impression, gives you a decent idea of what's to come. Gives you a good idea of the mechanics of the game, the pacing of the game, how difficult the game's going to be. Doesn't give you a great idea of just how freakishly difficult the game gets later on, but it gives you a taste of what's to come. And there's not really much to say about this guy. Whittle him down to half health, you'll piss him off so badly he's gonna like rip his face off. Literally rips his entire head out from his body. Then he's kind of just left standing there holding a stick with a giant head.
That's what she said!
And then he proceeds to bash you with that new phallus-like weapon That's about it with this guy. Coming in at number 15, we have the Black Rabbit Brotherhood Part 1. This is a gang of 4 stalkers, and let me tell you, this gang is seriously going to bang.
I'm here for the gangbang.
Not exactly what I meant by that, but sure. There are 3 smaller siblings and 1 larger one. And while it sounds like that'd be a difficult fight, you never face more than 2 at any time. You will always be facing one of the smaller siblings and the eldest. But when you've downed one of these smallest ones to no health, it's going to hop out, and the next one's going to come in. The youngest sister is a little bunny flippity little flippy floppy bitch who can be kind of annoying, and the younger brothers are kind of just dickheads. But they suffer the same fate that all stalkers do. They're all easily manageable. Their poise is broken easily, you stagger them easily, they don't do a lot of damage. You just really won't struggle with them. The eldest is significantly stronger and bigger. He's incredibly quick, and he can cover a crazy amount of distance in very little time, so he could give you some fits. But he's still a stalker at the end of the day. His attacks are telegraphed. They don't do nearly as much damage as some of the harder bosses in this game. They really aren't any more different than any other stalker, so it's really just like you're fighting 2 stalkers at once. And that's not difficult. Number 14, we've got the Door Guardian. Now, this boss is going to kill you. And you're going to be left thinking, what the actual F? I did no damage to him. Like, none at all. I did nothing. I did jack shit to this guy. And he killed me hella easy. Don't panic. Don't fret. This dude's easy. I promise he's very, very easy. All you have to do... He's a gimmick fight. Now listen closely. All you have to do is beat his tiny leg.
That's what she said?
I'm not proud of that one. That one was too easy. Yeah. That's not good. But you do, actually, really, you literally just hit that little tiny leg. And he's gonna fall over. And you're going to hit him with a fatal attack, and that's going to do 1/3 to half of his entire health bar. You do that 1 to 2 more times, and then woohoo, you killed him. Coming in at number 13, we have a guy that's going to make you realize just how powerful throwing items are in this game. Well, if you threw items at him. If you didn't throw items at him, then obviously you didn't realize that because you didn't throw items at him. The Mad Clown Puppet, yeah, that fat tub of lard. He's an asshole. He's an asshole. But since you can just cheese him with throwing items, you kind of just go pop, 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 pop.
The thing goes
Die. Oh god, this video is so dumb. Yeah, big fat slow tubby clown. Takes him several minutes just to walk down the pathway to even get to you. And that's why you can cheese him with items, because he just tubby walks on down and you just go pop 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 till he dies. He's gonna do some annoying fury attack where he chucks his bowling ball like arm out on this crazy long slinky like arm. But since it's a very long walk, you're pretty much easily out of range of it. So you can dodge it, even though they say, you can't dodge fury attacks. When you actually can, you just move away from them. If you're in range, you do have to parry that though, so it can be pretty annoying. And if you don't cheese them with chucking items, you can find it to be a somewhat difficult fight, because he does some incredibly annoying spinning combination attacks, and he even hits you with his fat belly, which is really difficult to dodge and parry because there's very little telegraph behind that one. And you do face him a second time later on, but he's not as difficult because you're much more well equipped, and his fury attack is no longer a fury attack. Number 12. We have the Walker of Illusions. Now this bitch, yeah, she's either one of the easiest bosses in the game, or one of the most difficult, or one of the most average. She's all of the above. That's the kind of boss this bitch is. Nothing she does is really even particularly difficult. She's just a cleaver raging maniac. She has some super fast meat chopping skills, and her combos can go on for kind of a long time. She can and she will summon a second copy of herself, but that clone dies in like 2 or 3 hits, so then you're left thinking, the fuck was the point of even summoning a second one if it dies like that? I'm still just fighting this one, because that was so pointless. But she does this like brainwave screaming nonsense, and it looks exactly
Like this.
yeah, that's gonna piss you off, you know, because you got her staggered, and you're like, sweet, fatal attack, I'm gonna kill you. Blah. No, you're not, because she's gonna go blah and scream, and your character's gonna go woo. Ah, she's a bitch. She doesn't have a wide array of attacks, and you will kind of quickly figure out her timing. And then after you died a few times, you're just gonna be like, I'm embarrassed. Number 11, we have the King's Flame Fueco. Fuoco? Fuko? Fucko? That can't be right. I don't know. The King Fire Robot. Let's go with that. There's not a lot to say about this guy. It's a really straightforward fight. He'll hammer you with his giant mallet-like fist. He'll do some spins. He'll even shit some fire. His spinning attacks can come out fairly quickly, but for the most part, it's all heavily telegraphed. Even his fury attacks, the big red undodgeable BS attacks, they're slow enough where you can see them coming from a long ways, to the degree that you can actually dodge them pretty easily. His fire shitting abilities are pretty easily evaded. Even the one where he covers the floor entirely in fire, you just kind of run away. Woohoo, run away, there's fire. That's about it, you know. You just kind of hit him, and then hit him, and then you hit him a little bit more, and then he'll probably shit some more fire. Yeah. And for our number 10 spot, we have a familiar face. No, we don't actually. It's a familiar body, I should say, actually, because this guy kind of ripped his face off, so he has no face. But where his face was, he's got like glowing ergo worms sticking out of that head hole. The Parade Master, yeah, that dude. Only now he's called the Corrupted Parade Master, and it's so totally a different fight from the first time. And by that I mean it's the exact same fight as the first time, except now he does his best Magic Carp impression.
All it does is jump and splash around.
Really though, he does jump and splash and jump and splash around. And that belly flopping fish out of water shit will probably kill you like 10 times, because you'll get stuck under it, the camera angle goes to shit, you die, you scream, and you whine that Magic Carp was useless in Pokemon, but then you realize you're not playing Pokemon, and then you get even angrier because Pokemon was easy. He's really not that much more difficult than the first time, except for that ridiculous fish flopping crap. Take a lot of damage from that. It's annoying. He also has the ability to summon minor enemies onto the field. He pukes up this crazy blue blob that pops and bursts an ergo monster with a fat head. Oh, yeah, and he pick you up and shoot out a massive Stranger Things Demogorgon-like worm from his head that will swallow you whole. And that will probably kill you, because that does a lot of damage. At number 9, we have some faces you are already familiar with. The Black Rabbit Brotherhood Part 2. Yeah, they're back, and they're more annoying than fucking ever before. This time you'll face all 3 of them at the same time, instead of the 1x1 silliness they did previously. And, of course, once you've gotten it down to just one of them, the conveniently placed coffin in the middle of the battlefield will see the eldest brother pop out of, you know, the one that you killed. And that surviving sibling will spout some bullshit about how the alchemist did some magic nonsense.
See, now that's some bullshit.
Fortunately for us, the fight isn't as daunting as it sounds. Each younger stalker can actually be kited really easily, so you can fight them one by one. They do have some throwing shit at you, so even if you are fighting them kind of one at a time, you never really are. But they're all basically still the exact same fight as they were the first time, so they're staggered easily, and they're just not that difficult. But the eldest brother is more of a dickhead than he was the first time, because the alchemists and their magical nonsense, whatever the hell they did with ergo, did some silly shit to this guy. And he starts kind of just going ham on you, spinning out some blue tidal waves made of ergo, whatever the hell it is. And he does this tricky shit where when you have him staggered and ready for a fatal attack, this motherfucker just starts swinging. You know, you've got that little icon, you're like, oh sweet, I'm gonna fatal attack this guy. Wrong. Nope, you're just gonna die because you tried to fatal attack because he actually wasn't ready to be fatal attacked. Cheesy. That's what that shit was. Oh my god. I didn't like that. That pissed me off. Because I'm like, oh sweet, I get to fatal attack this guy. No, you don't. You get to die instead. What a jackass. The fight's actually not that bad. It just pisses you off. Number 8. At number 8, we have the Champion Victor. Champion Victor is one of the more entertaining characters of the game. He's the chapter boss in the Grand Exhibition, and he's honestly just a really fun fight. A lot of the bosses in this game can just feel so unfair, unforgiving. The mechanics kind of feel bullshit. Then you bitch and whine about the game being janky and the mechanics are broken, but in reality you're just getting your ass kicked and blaming the game. That won't be the case with the Champion Victor. He's balanced incredibly well. You won't have that issue with this boss. It's a tough fight, reasonably tough fight, but mechanically fair. And mostly all he does is just punch the shit out of you. That's pretty much his game plan. He's going to punch you. He's going to punch you some more, and then he's going to punch you again, and then when he's done punching you, he's going to punch you one last time because you weren't ready for that one last one, because he's a sneaky dickhead with that last spinny punch he does. He does have 2 phases, and the second phase is not too much different. Once you've whittled his health bar down, you're going to get a cutscene, and he is going to then do his best Bane impersonation.
Victory has defeated you.
Well, not so much that Bane. It'll look more like this Bane. Yeah, so he drops these tanks, injects a bunch of ergo into his body, and turns himself into that steroid raging, flexing muscle monster man. Then he starts glowing blue. But the phase isn't that much different from the first one. Instead of a tanky looking dude punching you, you have a glowy dude dude punching you. He does do some extra slams too, but it's not too different. It's a little bit harder, I guess. He's just gonna keep on punching you. And for number 7, we have the Scrapped Watchman. The Scrapped Watchman is the very first major chapter boss you face in the game, and is the first one that probably makes you say, holy shit, I am not good at this game. Thank God I can summon a Spectre ally, because I'm using that. You will then die with that Spectre summon multiple times and probably say to yourself, what the fuck? I'm a Souls vet. I'm a Souls vet. This can't be true. This can't be happening to me. I'm so good at these games. No, you're not. Nothing this boss does is even overly difficult, but I'm placing him up this high simply because of how early you face him. He's the first real boss of the game, and you face him so early you don't quite have the mechanics down yet. You have very little built up into your P-organ skill system, so it's difficult to navigate. He does have 2 phases, but like Champion Victor, he doesn't get a new health bar, so that's a plus. His first phase has him bouncing around like a wild monkey and slapping you around like an angry gorilla, but thankfully those are all pretty slow and telegraphed enough for the player to quickly catch on to. As always, it's the second phase where things get a little wild.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
When you get him down to just above half health, he lets out this crazy scream, a blast of electricity all around him, and that electricity will then be coursing through his entire body. And that asshole leaves electricity all over the damn place. When he does his crazy wind-up attacks, it leaves electricity on the ground and it explodes pretty quickly after. He also has the ability to summon this like crazy massive electric storm, blasting lightning all over the damn place. But hey, it's a Souls-like. If you're not dying, you probably aren't playing. Coming in at number 6, we have the first boss that's going to upgrade your holy shits to... Oh, fuck me, I'm never going to finish this guy.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
That's the last one, I promise. Maybe, I don't promise that. I hope it's the last one. Anyway, the Fallen Archbishop Andreas. For me personally, this was either the second or third hardest boss in the game. Took me like 10 attempts to get through it. And here's what happened. Used one potion on this freaking dickhead. What is he doing? Oh, there's 2 phases, aren't there? Oh no. All that excitement. There's 2 phases. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. Well, we have a serious issue now. There's nothing in that first phase that is overly difficult. I just could not for the life of me figure out that goddamn whipping tongue that decayed your weapon and whittled your health bar down to nothing. Ah, stupid tongue. Never figured that damn thing out. Anyway, you'll eventually kill the first phase, and he gets an entirely new health bar in the second phase. And in that second phase, the Fallen Archbishop is going to wiggle his body out of that upside down frog face looking fucker's butt, and then he'll be 2-sided. If the frog looking thing faces you, it's all the attacks from the first phase. If the bishop side faces you, it's the entirely new section where he smacks you around with a staff and does some crazy ergo explosion, one that I honestly never even really figured out how to dodge. That was a pain in the ass. Do note, this boss was later nerfed. His health pool was cut by a whopping 30%, and that's my freaking excuse for why I struggled so damn much. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have what was undoubtedly my favorite fight of the game, Simon Manus. Simon Manus is the last boss. I put that in quotes because he's literally not the last boss. The game wants you to think he's the last boss, but he's not the last boss. He technically could be the last boss if you choose not to fight the actual last boss, because the last boss is technically an optional boss. But don't do that. Fight the last boss. You don't want the bad ending. You want the good one. Fight the real last boss. Don't be weird. Anyway, last time you saw this guy, he was a relatively ordinary looking dude in a top hat. He'd gone blind in one eye from the petrification disease that is ravaging the lands. As you can tell by the video, he clearly does not look like that anymore. He's pretty freaking tore up. He's been consuming ergo at an extraordinarily excessive rate. And if you know what ergo is, you won't be confused as to why there's body parts hanging out of him now. He's got like little baby legs and mouths hanging off of his body because he's been consuming ergo. His first phase is not so bad. It's never the first phase that's difficult. His attacks are slow, they're telegraphed, much like most first phase boss fights are. As always, it is phase 2 where shit hits the fan and it gets weird. It gets weird very quickly, in fact. The second you've downed his health bar in phase 1, you're going to get a cutscene. And Simon Manus is going to rip off his clothing and unveil
Witness me as I grasp the power of a true god!
I wasn't even going to try to explain what the hell that was, because I've seen it like 12 times and I still don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. He's like turned into a man flower blossoming an ergo baby or some weird shit like that. I don't know what the hell the developers were on when they made it, but I totally love it. It's awesome. Anyway, yeah, second phase. Second phase is a lot of fun. He gets crazy. He has what I call the touch of death, where he summons this giant ass blue hand from space or wherever the fuck it comes from, and it goes woo, plop, and it like blows up the entire goddamn map. But it's so slow that you kind of just walk away from it and you're like, oh, look at this pretty hand. Wow. That's really about it. You probably won't get hit by that because it's so damn slow. But he also has a huge arsenal of other attacks, ranging from wide weapon swings to smashes, summoning bolts of energy, and balls of energy too, even. The only real difficulty in the second phase is his fury attack. He'll jump straight up in the air so high that he'll go outside of your camera view. So then you're kind of just left thinking, oh, fuck, where'd he go? Is he coming back down? Oh, shit, yep, he just hit me. It's super annoying. But you eventually catch on to the timing of it anyway, so you don't really even need to see him at all. It's a fun fight. You'll probably see a lot of people online bitching and whining. It's not fair. It's janky. I can't do it. Nah, bitch, shut up. It's not that bad. Number 4. Number 4, we have probably what was my second favorite fight of the game. Definitely top 2. It's a fun one. We have Loxasia the Big Tits. Excuse me, Loxasia the Complete. I don't know why I just said that. Yeah, so this giant breasted goddess, she's gonna throw out the works. Her first phase comes with lengthy combos, animations that vary from slow to quick, super slow to really quick, but with a touch of delay in there just to piss you off and miss that parry timing just about every single time. And then even if you do get that, she's going to add some arcs of electricity on the end of that combination just to really piss you off. But that's only phase 1, and it's actually not as daunting as it sounds. Phase 1's not too bad. As always, it's phase 2 where you get your ass kicked. Once you down her health bar in phase 1, you're going to get a cutscene. And she's going to shed her armor, unveil her gray toned skin, her giant boobs, and a all-you-can-eat cake buffet.
I'd hit that.
Okay, hey, don't judge. They know what they're doing. They did that shit on purpose. They're like, you know what? Dudes be playing games. We want to kill them. We want to make this game as difficult as possible. How do we do that? Let's distract them with titty. Boom. Works every time. Don't even try to deny it. Phase 2 happened, and you're like, oh dang, booby. And then you died because you weren't paying attention to what she was doing. Anyway, yeah, so that's what happened to you. But the fight itself, yeah, she's going to kill you a lot, even if you weren't distracted by the bosoms. She's gonna shoot up into the sky like the Valkyrie that she is, flying up to the heavens of Valhalla. And then she's gonna do some crazy lightning shit that would probably impress Thor himself. You know what? I bet those two were smashing. For sure. Yeah. So it's a difficult phase, but you'll end up realizing it's not so bad because you can actually parry her lightning balls, and when you do that, it sends them right back to her, and it does massive amounts of damage. So you'll find it being much easier once you do that. However, if you miss those parries, she is brutal. She adopts the entire moveset from phase 1. But everything has an excessive amount of lightning attached to it, and it all explodes quickly after, so you can never stay in one spot. And then she does some tricky bullshit where when she's staggered and ready to be fatal attacked, you run in, you're like, haha, bitch, I gotcha. Nope. No, you don't, because now she's going to do some blah, and zap lightning all around her just to push you back and make you miss that fatal attack. So wait for her to scream lightning, and then go stab her. And then that's when you kill her. And then when you kill her, you're thinking, oh, damn. She dead. And we have the runner-up to the runner-up. Our third place, our bronze medalist. We have the green monster of the swamp. Well, just the second phase, the puppet devouring green monster. For me personally, this was number 1. This was number 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and everything else was like 10 to 27. This, oh god. No boss has ever given me troubles in any Souls-like game the way the puppet devouring green monster did. 23, 24 deaths, something like that. Do you know how freaking long that takes? These are 3 to 4 minute fights. This was over a goddamn hour. An hour of just dying and bashing my head against the wall. That's the kind of fight this was. I'm not particularly great at these games, but I've always been able to get through a boss in 5-10 fights maximum. Even Millennia in Elden Ring took me 25 minutes my first time around. Oh. This guy. Oh. That's how I feel about this guy. Just like, that's what goes on my head when I think of the puppet devouring green monster. My brain just goes, wow. He's this freaking wormy, eyeball covered freakazoid. And you're going to kill the first phase pretty quickly because every first phase in this game is relatively easy. And then you're going to get a cutscene, and this wormy critter is gonna crawl and it's gonna find the lifeless, dead puppet body of a boss you killed earlier, the scrapped watchman. It's gonna wiggle its way through it, and it's going to become, the green monster is then going to become the puppet devouring green monster. Because get it? It was a green monster, and it found a puppet, and it devoured the body, and it, you get it? Super clever. It's a green monster, and it just devoured a puppet. And so now it's the puppet devouring green monster. Second phase is going to have all the original attacks, but is also now going to adopt the moveset from the scrapped watchman. That's why it wiggled its way in, because it wanted to become this thing. It also has what I call the crab walk dance of death. It literally starts walking around like a crab, and then it has like these little crabby hands that crab attack you. It is the most irritating attack because you just get stuck under it, your camera angle goes to shit, and you die, and then you throw your controller, and then you have to go to GameStop, and you're like, hey, you guys sold me a broken controller. But really it was because you got pissed off and you threw the controller. Totally not a true story. What makes this boss one of the more challenging ones are the tentacle-like whips that he slings around. There is no telegraph whatsoever, and they are blazingly fast. So if you're messed up a couple attacks earlier and got hit, you're gonna die by those stupid little whips. And those whips are gonna be eerily reminiscent of videos you've seen before. Only you won't find yourself a little grossed out next to some crumpled tissue, nor will you be pondering your life choices with that newly found clarity of your existence. Yeah, bitch, you nasty. Yeah, I went a little too far with that one, didn't I? Ladies, I apologize for that nasty-ass behavior of those men, of which I totally exclude myself from. Number 2, the silver medalist, the runner-up. We've got the King of Puppets. No, we don't. We have Romeo, the King of Puppets. This two-faced dickhead. Oh, where do I start with this guy? This guy's gonna have you on your knees crying to God and asking why. God, please, God. Yeah. It's the second phase. It's Romeo. But let's go over the first phase anyway. This giant crowned king will throw out some of the most unique animations in the entire game. He's got slinky-like vacuum-looking arms. Just like every other boss, he's gonna slap you around silly with those. He turns his entire body into a vacuum, sucks up all the debris, and launches it out in every direction. He turns his little fisticuffs and shoulder pads into machine guns, launches blue balls of electricity all over the place, and those will explode moments later. Fortunately, most of his attacks are slow, and he telegraphs them pretty easily. It's not a difficult phase. It's a really fun phase, but it's not a difficult one, much like every other boss fight where the first phase is a bit of a cakewalk. Yeah, it's the second goddamn phase with this guy. When you've downed his health bar, you're going to get a cutscene, and without any words, that cutscene is going to ruin your sense of accomplishment and be like, ha ha, bitch, you gonna die now. Even though it never actually says that, you just kind of know that's going to happen by what's happening on the screen. Yeah, so the King of Puppets drops his chest plate, kind of pops out, and it unleashes the Xenomorph from Spaceballs. Oh, man, if only. If only. No. Instead, it unleashes Romeo. Romeo. Oh, fuck you, Romeo. Yeah, so Romeo. He's going to unleash some devastating attacks, lengthy combinations, You'll start whittling him down to almost half health, and you'll be like, hey, Hayden, this is easy. Dude, you're an idiot. Ha ha. Wrong. You hella wrong. He's got his own second phase, kind of. Yeah, the second phase has sort of his own second phase. He's gonna douse his scythe in flame, and he's gonna light your ass up. He's gonna go ham, wreaking havoc. He's gonna do these 10 to 12 hit combinations where 1 to 2 of the hits is gonna kill you. You know, in Elden Ring Melania, she's got her waterfowl dance. This jackass basically has his own. I don't know what you want to call it, the fiery you dead dance. This fucking guy. If you're fighting him in New Game Plus and you have the Perfection Grindstone, you can actually cheese that entire sequence just by holding down block, and you'll end up breaking his weapon because you've parried so much, which is actually the best way to beat him, even if you don't have the Perfection Grindstone. Just parry, 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 parry until you break his weapon. If you don't do that, you're just gonna die. It brings us to our number 1 spot. Some of these bosses may have felt just stupidly unfair, borderline heinous, unforgiving. Hell, some of them were probably crazy easy for you. And you may or may not disagree with the order I've placed these bosses in. We all have vastly different playstyles. Like for me, who I'm placing at number 1 wasn't actually even the hardest boss in the game for me. I just tried to be as objective about it as I could. In the way the bosses fought, I could see why certain ones would be ridiculously challenging for others. And I think we can all agree that the number 1 spot absolutely goes to the Nameless Puppet. The Nameless Puppet is the type of boss that either made you feel like an incredibly shit player at the game, or you popped out your phone. If you got an Android, I don't know, you cracked open Samsung Notes, got the bullet list going, you started rattling off reasons why the game is janky bullshit, unfair, it's broken. You know, you probably got like 27, 28 lists of why the Nameless Puppet is a piece of shit. I totally get it. Totally get it. It's not your fault, man. It ain't your fault. It's the boss. He's just that much of an asshole. Hell, you probably even wept on the bosoms of your caregiver. For me personally, when I was fighting the corrupted green monster, that was me. I think there's video of it even. I can't do it. It's too hard. But let's talk about the fight itself. Just like every other goddamn boss in this game, the first phase is not a big deal. And it honestly will feel really similar to just a basic stalker battle. The character is staggered easily, doesn't have a big health pool, does more damage than them, but it's a simple phase, and it's not bad. It's the goddamn second phase. I don't know what the hell these dudes were thinking when they were designing bosses. Every single time they were like, haha, let's make players think they're gonna win, but they're gonna die by making the second phase an absolute bitch. Like, that was their entire game plan when they were thinking up these designs in every single goddamn fight, I swear. I don't know why they can't just give us 2 difficult phases, like equally balanced difficulty. I don't know. They didn't want to do that. Whatever. Anyway, you knock his health bar out. It like severs the strings that control him. They change from blue to orange to just like show you how extra unhinged he's become. Douses his weapons in this like blood-like vapor. And then he just fucking chops the shit out of you and you die. Starts doing these crazy, absurdly fast fury attacks, but he delayed for an absurdly long time, so you're just sitting there looking at him, and he's going like this with his hands, like ready to chop you, and you're just kind of like, oh my god, are you gonna... I'm dead. But it's like 75 freaking minutes of sitting there waiting for him to do this goddamn attack. And you can't freaking parry it half the damn time because the animation speed sets off so blazingly fast. You have to know just the exact precise moment of when it's going to happen. But unlike goddamn Romeo, you can't cheese him with the perfection grindstone. So really, just the only way you get through this dude is just get good.
Oh my god.
All right. So we've covered the bosses and ranked them in order. Why don't we go ahead and move on over to the Hot Thoughts segment of the day. Mrs. Hey Lady, take it away.
No, the game isn't unfair. There is no jank. The combat is incredibly smooth. Bosses aren't impossible. There are no unreasonable mechanics or fights in this game. The game is balanced perfectly fine. You just suck at it. Stop your whining, put your big boy britches on, and get good. Some fights might seem unfair, some fights might seem impossible, but you'll eventually catch on just fine and realize it was all because you weren't good.
God damn. She's not wrong.
Bitches, huh? What are you gonna do?